Dankeschön, Jen. Well, today we're going to make Käse Spaetzle, which, traditionally you would find them also at the Oktoberfest. So we take some AP flour. We need some salt. Good kosher salt is fine. White pepper, a little bit of nutmeg, gives a nice aroma, and some eggs. We might have to adjust the consistency with some of the water, so why don't we get going? So we add a good pinch of salt to the flour. A little bit of white pepper. Reason I'm using white pepper so you don't later see it in the mix. And then a little bit of nutmeg. You want to be careful with the nutmeg. It's very strong, so you don't want to put too much in there, okay? Now we start cracking on our eggs. For that amount, I would say we use about 8 eggs. Crack those open in there. Now we're going to start mixing. Now, traditionally, a small batch like that in Swabia, which is the area around Stuttgart where it comes from, you would whip that with your hand. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We add a little bit of water. Take my hand and then slowly, you don't want to swirl it too much, you don't want to get the flour all over your kitchen. You'll see how the dough is already forming up there a little bit. By the time we are done, the dough should have like the consistency of like maybe a biscuit. Now that we have it all incorporated, now comes the fun part. Now we're going to beat the dough. Yeah, you can really let some aggression out there. See how I'm doing it here? And you want to beat the dough until you see bubbles coming out of it. So we let that rest for a minute. We're going to work on our caramelized onions. Those go on top of the Spaetzle, and they do take a while if you do them properly, but it's well worth it. So what we take a white onion, just quarter it a little bit, and then julienne it down. Preferably without any fingers, so you want to be cognizant of that. Okay, we want that melted a little bit, and then we're going to add our onions. We're going to season them, again, with pepper and salt. Okay. And a sprinkle of our salt. Again, kosher salt, sea salt. That will work just fine. Now back to our Spaetzle. I got some boiling water here. We added salt to that as well. Can add probably a little bit more. And now comes the fun part to make the Spaetzle. What I brought here, this is one of our tools from Germany back then. It's a Spaetzle planer, so you put the dough in the compartment, move the thing back and forth, and it cuts the Spaetzle off. If you have like a colander at home, and just scrape it through there, that works just fine. See, very, very easy if you get a tool like that. Next question you probably ask me, where do I get that? Besides traveling to Germany, I think Amazon would be probably your best bet to get that. I like to give it a little bit of a stir so they don't stick together. But really give it about 2 to 3 minutes. They all have to float, they all have to cook. It's essentially like a noodle, a dumpling dough. Beautiful. Just like on the Oktoberfest. So we are almost there. Now let's get ahead with our cheese sauce. And we take some milk. You use whole milk here, you could use a skim milk if you like to. Let that get warm. We'll season that with a little bit of white pepper again. And then we have the 2 cheeses, I have a Swiss, Gruyere, and an Emmental for that. Like I alluded to, you could use all kinds of cheese. Let it dissolve, make a nice cheese sauce. And a little bit of the Emmental as well. Then we want to reheat our Spaetzle. Let's add a little bit of butter. And we add our Spaetzle. See how our cheese sauce is doing? Yeah, it's starting to melt. Once that is melted, we incorporate that in the Spaetzle. Nice. And then more cheese. I'm telling you, this is a very, very fun dish. You're going to really enjoy that. Then we're going to add our beautiful caramelized onions. Really nice and sweet. That really, really elevates the dish. And I like to garnish with a little bit of chives. And here we got it, cheese Spaetzle. You're certainly too impressed at your party for that. If you don't feel like making it, come on down to the Thunder Falls Buffet. We got it there for you. Come dine with me, Western New York.